Yeah. Okay. Can you bring Joopy?
Yes. Hello. Look at this. Oh, now that's work. Do you even see Yuppie?
Yeah, like I think he's a bit intimidated.
All right. Okay. Is it a guy or a girl?
A guy,
Okay.
but like I don't even know how that works with cats, but like the personality, like is sort of such a twink, like he's definitely queer, okay, or like something like that, non-binary. Like he just walks like this. He only eats the food that he knows. You know, he's like a true diva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. Um,
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
all right. So with I saw like the Quest DAO. So you think like the DAO way of organizing is gonna be like future proof? Is something that will really
Um, to some
thrive?
extent, I mean, you know, like it has to be up. Like you know, like everything is renovating itself in a way.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, for
so
sure.
something will remain, but like the essence of what I try to describe is that is like a way to coordinate. Um, uh, you know, the kind of how look sorry, like it's a structure, like an economic structure that is something else than a traditional company or like consulting firm.
Yeah.
So like companies with a problem like in IT, in sustainability, in kind of corporate culture, etc., like automation, they place like an issue or problem that they're running into, and then you know a network team from all over the world that works like through sort of digital means they are starting to work on like solving that problem.
Yeah.
So you pull together like the knowledge that is not present in like traditional organizations,
For sure.
and that's like and sort of like I completely already like know like how it works. Like if you um make the kind of the first sort of prototype for a solution and it gets implemented and it starts like you know proving its value, then people can earn commission on it.
Hmm.
You know, it's like sort of forever, like it's kind of royalties, you know.
Yeah.
When you just as like in a blocker like on GitHub, like if you evolve, if that solution is then implemented in other companies and they're adapted, and you're like involved in the adaptation, you can also earn royalties on the adaptation.
Yeah.
So you know, like this is this sort of continuous co-evolution of kind of solution making. By this, I want to uh, disrupt the consulting sector, because the consulting sector,
Yes.
like they're literally just sucking value out of the whole economy by people being stuck, you know, companies being stuck, um, and just asking way too much money. Like the reason why they are earning so much money is that they have this sort of status that they can say to the CEO,
Right.
"Stop, sit in your chair. Now I'm going to decide."
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's primarily a social process. It not even doesn't even say anything about the quality of the of the solution that's being offered.
Right.
So yeah, so like the consulting sector is like really kind of parasitical at this point, um, and only the very big companies and big governments like they spend so much money. Sometimes entire government organizations like that where 70%, 80% of like public money goes to fucking consultants to you know let them instruct how to reorganize themselves. Like it's insanity. So and like you know my sister is a consultant, so she works in that world.
Okay.
So and like I'm continuously frustrated. Like how the fuck can this exist?
Yeah.
You know, like if she is in energy transition, she is not trained in physics and stuff. You know, like in how that works on a technical level. She's not an electrician. You know, but somehow she has to manage between the people like the engineers that think of a new energy grid and the electricians that have to implement it. Like
Interesting.
and then earning like so much money, like you know, teams managing, like fucking managing. Like, oh my god! So you know,
Yeah, I
and
can imagine.
all of this is like costing so much money. And my friend is always saying like, you know, there's um, two core principles of like, you know, what he as a consultant says uh, what needs to happen, or like the like how do you wait, I need to translate it into English because it's in Dutch. Translate. Oh. Yeah, like sparing or saving money. So like big posts that cost like money each month. For example, like IT, the business model of IT is that you make a product that your client doesn't understand, so that they need you for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
All of this is becoming untenable. It's like fix your IT in like in a more cost efficient way, or you go bankrupt. Period.
For sure.
Yeah. So like a lot of companies, like, they're running into their final end. They don't have money anymore, so they need to find better ways to save money. And the other thing that's needed is like like hands, like practical people that can actually do things.
Right. Executors. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So this is potentially quite big because the problems are big, and consultants can sometimes come with good solutions, but it's just like way too costly for like many organizations to spend those prices on. So that market is gonna run into like problems, while the big global problems kind of like augment. So if you have a organization, or like sort of no, if you have an infrastructure that can manage the coordination of like collective intelligence and solution making for like stringent problems that are also like not even useful for like one company in parallel, that like three companies hire three different consulting firms to work on like a problem that is almost the same, but it can be coordinated, then you have something really good.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah, that is what QuestDAO is, in my mind.
Okay.
And it's described in
I see.
that story.
Yeah, I'll read it. But generally, then this article is set to kind of like give an example of the future that you're building with boundary object as well. And
Yes.
again,
Yeah.
what is the relationship of QuestDAO and boundary object? Why did you choose the name boundary object?
Okay, like because of a meme. I saw like a meme being posted about like the sound system as a boundary object, and a boundary object is like in anthropology an object, or like anything that exists in different social or professional realms. So like it exists in different worlds. It's the same thing. It has a slightly different meaning, and it facilitates like the exchange of knowledge like across the boundaries of different kind of social groups.
Cool, got it. I see.
Yeah. So for example, like you have a map, and like that's like often mentioned. Like a map means something else for like a cartographer, or like a tourist, or like a data analyst, etc. So but like it's the same object that makes interaction meaningful, because you can like refer to the same thing. And this is like how I also see my own work, like kind of walking around in different realms and different circles. And it if my role would become more like spread out, like it could potentially facilitate the interaction of like different sections of society that would otherwise not meet.
Right, makes sense. And then again, what's the relationship of boundary object and the QuestDAO?
No, like QuestDAO is just like the finally crystallized version of like something that I envisioned to build, to exist, and that I wanted to suggest for Seeds to Meet as like, what role can the International Seeds to Meet organization play in this happening? And the way how I imagined is that, like, okay, let's say you have a QuestDAO, you have like thousands of people on there that are spread out all over the world. Like, what you would then have is like people would still like if you have 10 people in London working, for a problem at QuestDAO, they would at some point want to work also physically together on things, So then what would they do? Like they would look for a co-work space. Now you get where I'm at, right? So in my mind, like Seats to Meet would be any place. You have like main Seats to Meet and like sites, like the sort of the way as it has always existed, but like just anything, like the basis is that it's a place where abundance of a main business model like Horeca is shared in order to facilitate or like attract this crowd. So you have like the notion of abundance. If you want to make sure that there's enough for everyone, there need to be too much. That's like a common thing in a capitalist economy. So this is why like a lot of things are like thrown away because you always have slack, you always have abundance.
Yeah.
So what Seats Me decided in 2009 is that they could also share it with flex workers, and they hoped to attract and to retain the value that was present in this upcoming kind of class of new entrepreneurs. That was the idea. They didn't manage. They managed like for several years when flex working was still like very hip and stuff, but then now it became normalized. Like it recalibrated into a format where people either just like rent an office or like they're kind of semi-employed or whatever. So so now what you need is not just to attract like a crowd like this, but really to create a structure that can actually create value, which is like this kind of consulting thing in the way as I have it in mind. And what then remains of the philosophy of Seats to Meet is that like you use abundance to attract like a specific crowd with also specific value behind it, because like if there's something like QuestDAO, like there's investors behind it, there's like companies, they have clients, there's real problems being solved in the real world, real value, real economics, real money, and it would be kind of like with a sort of a gamified system that if you like sort of contributed to these solutions and you earn something like in the form of like some kind of token, and like with that token you can get like discounts on like lunch or coffee or tea or whatever
on the services or
on the services of a certain place, let's say a hotel or like what
like membership fees basically,
not
membership but like like incentives to earn tokens.
But like the incentive or like the contribution that you do is like you contribute to and you can even differentiate between like international problems or like problems of specific clients on that specific location. So that especially if you have a meeting center, if you like solve a problem for someone who has a regular meeting at that specific location, then you bind yourself even more to that location.
Right.
So this is the way like how I kind of thought of how I would approach Seats to Meet if I were like in the lead. And then even if I were in the lead, of course, like this needs investments and money, etc. But like that led to this speculative future. Like, okay, what if something like this really existed? And then what I then expect is that like these pockets of people that kind of know each other, like are sort of aligned, then will start to also start communities, like live together, especially in the countryside, in the way that like you have also been exploring, like far away from the city, especially.
Off-grid.
And that is where, in my mind, like the future it will unfold is being.
You were frozen for this important part, but I heard the gist that the future will unfold in the off-grid type of scenarios. For sure. Okay, again, back to like just to kind of understand from my perspective, like what can I do to be helpful with boundary object? How can
Mhm.
I, involve myself at this stage, and um, what are your steps currently to develop this group?
Okay, so yeah, like what first needs to happen is social gravity,
Uh-huh.
if you know what that is.
Right.
Social gravity is like, so back in 2020 when I was leaving social media, like I left social media
Yeah.
once, but like it was literally too difficult. Why social gravity?
Right.
Do you know what that is?
Tell me.
Social gravity, I think you'll understand what I mean by that. Like I have a whole lexicon. Sorry, this is
That's
funny.
great. This is
Like,
super
yeah,
cool.
yeah.